Hello everyone. So welcome to the Prelims 2018 test discussion for Indian Polity. So basically from Indian Polity side, there were 14 questions that was asked from the core subject. So that is what 14 questions were asked from the core subject, and of this, you can classify it into two. Basically, first category is all about the conceptual question which measure your conceptual knowledge in that particular area. And the second category is about the general current affairs, that is regarding certain questions like Aadhaar, it was in current affairs. So that's the reason why such questions were asked. So basically, the questions that were asked from prelims, that is from Indian Polity, in prelims 2018, is actually can be classified into these two. So we will discuss each question, that is these 14 questions we will discuss now, and based upon it you can evaluate your questions. So the first question was, consider the following statements. In the first Lok Sabha, the single largest party in the opposition was Swatantra Party. That is the first statement. Second statement, in the Lok Sabha, a leader of opposition was recognized for the first time in 1969. The third statement, in Lok Sabha, if a party does not have a minimum of 75 members, its leader cannot be recognized as a leader of opposition. And again, it is asked for the correct statement. So here, imagine a scenario wherein it's actually you won't be knowing whether in the first Lok Sabha the single largest party there is single largest party in the opposition, which was it, etc. But whatever it may be, just understand the scenario. You could have answered this through elimination technique, in the sense that you don't know what exactly first statement is, right? You don't know what exactly first statement is, so just neglect it. Second statement, in the first Lok Sabha, the leader of opposition was recognized for the first time in 1969. Again, that was also googly. So you don't know what exactly the second statement is also. So you can ignore it. The third statement, in the Lok Sabha, if a party does not have a minimum of 75 members, its leader cannot be recognized as a leader of opposition. So here you clearly know that for that purpose, that is for a party leader to be recognized as a leader of opposition, his party should have achieved at least 10% of the total membership, that is the total membership of that house. So here in the case of Lok Sabha, it is asking for Lok Sabha, it is 545 members total. So 10% means it is 54.5, it's actually 55 members. Even this was in news, it was repeatedly said in the news, in fact. So saying that the Congress, that is the Congress right now does not meet the minimum requirement. And that's the reason why it is not known as the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha. So that's the reason why it was currently in news. So you know that 55 members, for a party to be recognized as an opposition party, or its leader to be recognized as a leader of opposition, in such a case the party need to have at least 10%. So that is 55. Again, in the question it is asked, it said that if the party does not have a minimum of 75 members, it is not 75 members, it is 55 members. So then and there itself you can say that third statement is wrong. So if you eliminate the third statement, you can say A as well as C as well as Delhi D, 1, 2 and 3. That is 1 and 3, 2 and 3 as well as 1, 2 and 3 can be eliminated. Straight away you will arrive to the answer, that is 2 only. So here again 2 only is the correct answer. In fact, Swatantra Party was formed by C. Rajagopalachari. He was actually a freedom fighter, you all know, freedom fighter, politician and associate of Gandhi, and also the last Governor General of India. So he parted the ways with Congress in 1957, and in 1959 he formed the Swatantra Party. And accordingly, this party favored a classical liberal principle and free enterprise. So this was actually what Swatantra Party had. So again, the leader of opposition for the first time, it was in 1969. Yes, that is correct. It was Ram Subhak Singh of Indian National Congress. That was in the 4th Lok Sabha. So here, if the Swatantra Party was formed in 1959, then how come it can be the first? It can be the leader of. Its leader can be recognized as a leader of opposition for the first Lok Sabha. So again, using that common sense also, you could have answered it. But again, need not worry. In fact, using the elimination technique itself, you will be able to arrive at the answer. And also to be recognized as a party, as a leader of opposition, the party needs to have achieved or needs to at least have 10% of the total strength of the house. So that is what is there with respect to the first question. So here the answer has to be 2 only. Now moving on to the next question. Second statement, the second question, consider the following statement. The Parliament of India can place a particular law in the 9th schedule of the Constitution of India. Second statement, the validity of a law that is placed in 9th schedule cannot be examined by any court and no judgment can be made on it. So again, the demand of the question is for correct statement. So here 9th schedule etc. we had discussed in our classes, and regarding judicial review etc. we had discussed in detail in our classes as well as in the test series also. So here in the Parliament of India, of course, the Parliament of India can place a law in 9th schedule, it is there, that is Parliament of India can, if not Parliament of India, then who can actually place it? It's actually the Parliament of India. So the Parliament of India can place a particular law in 9th schedule of the Constitution of India, that is correct. The first statement has to be correct. The second statement, the validity of a law that is placed in 9th schedule cannot be examined by any court and no judgment can be made on it. Again, if you would have known about the new basic structure, that is about the judicial review, you would have said that it is wrong. So second statement can be eliminated. So here the second statement is wrong, that is it can be questioned and reviewed by the judiciary. It was based on the IR Colo case that was brought in 2007, wherein the judiciary had ruled, or the Supreme Court has ruled, that any law that has been placed in 9th schedule after April 24th of 1973, wherein the Keshavananda Bharati was the state of Kerala, the verdict of this particular milestone case was pronounced by the Supreme Court. After that, any judgment or any law that has been inserted by the Parliament in 9th schedule can be judicially reviewed, because judicial review is actually the basic structure of Constitution. So that's the reason why the second statement is wrong. So which means that the answer has to be 1 only. Again, regarding the explanation, the Parliament can place in the 9th schedule, that is Article 31B. It saves them from judicial review, especially any article the first 9th schedule was actually brought in through first Constitutional Amendment Act, that was in 1951. It was done by the Constituent Assembly itself, which then acted as the first Parliament. In IR Colo case in 2007, the Supreme Court had upheld the judicial review, said that after April 24th of 1973, any law that was placed in 9th schedule by the Parliament can be challenged if it violated the Article 14, Article 15, Article 19, as well as Article 21 of the Constitution. Now, the second question, the answer has to be A, 1 only. So this was discussed in our classes as well as in the test series also. Now moving on to the next question, consider the following statements. Aadhaar card can be used as a proof of citizenship or domicile. Second statement, once issued, Aadhaar number cannot be deactivated or omitted by the issuing authority. So first statement, again Aadhaar card was in news, consistently in news. Again, if you had if you had gone through the newspaper, you would have seen that the various courts, their judgment saying that Aadhaar will not be accepted as a citizenship, a proof of citizenship. So if you knew that, you could have eliminated this particular citizenship criteria, and thereby you could have eliminated the first statement. Second statement, once issued, Aadhaar number cannot be deactivated, that is, or omitted by the issuing authority. But again, if you had used your comments and saying that, okay, just imagine a scenario wherein the UIDAI, which is the apex body, it finds that that is 2 or more Aadhaar numbers has been erroneously allocated to a person. In such a case, they can deactivate. They should deactivate it, right? Because a person cannot actually go ahead and use more than one Aadhaar card numbers or Aadhaar number. So that's the reason why the issuing authority will be having the full authority, or issuing authority will be having the full power in order to deactivate this particular Aadhaar number. So that's the reason why second statement should also be wrong, because it is saying that it cannot be deactivated. So both first and second are wrong, which means that the answer has to be neither 1 nor 2. Again, it is asked for the correct statement, so it has to be neither 1 nor 2. So regarding the various Bombay High Courts, that is various High Courts, especially the Bombay High Court as well as the Calcutta High Court, they had ruled that Aadhaar card is not a proof of citizenship, and also said that Aadhaar card, the verdict was like, the Aadhaar card by itself shall not confer any right of or be proof of citizenship or domicile in respect of the card holder thereto. So that was what the High Court had given its verdict. And again, the citizenship law, it says that citizenship law states that any person, if he or she is born in India after July 1st of 1987, that is after July 1st of 1987, if he or she has to be recognized as a citizen of India, then one of his parents has to be a citizen of India and the other one should not be an illegal immigrant in India. So only if these criteria are recognized or fulfilled, only then they will be that particular person can be recognized as a citizen of India. So again, achieving an Aadhaar card naturally will not be a proof. So the next one, again, provisions, that is as per the provisions of section 27 and 28, a person's Aadhaar number can be cancelled if multiple Aadhaar numbers has been issued, or if it finds that certain discrepancies has occurred. In such a case, the issuing authority can actually deactivate it. So here the answer has to be neither one nor two. Now, with reference to the Parliament of India, which of the following parliamentary committees scrutinizes and reports to the House whether the power to make regulations, rules, sub-rules, bylaws, etc. conferred by the Constitution of delegated by the Parliament are being properly exercised by the executive within the scope of such delegation. So again, if you had used your common sense, you could have answered it easily. There is Committee on Government Assurance. You all know that it is actually based on, it is something like the government would be assuring something, and based on this the committee would be examining whether the government is fulfilling it, using your common sense I am saying about it. So the first statement, of course, it is not examining about the delegated legislative power which executive is using. So the first option can be eliminated. Second statement, again you don't know, second option you don't know, then again just leave it, go for the next one. Rules Committee, of course, Rules Committee is something that is concerned with the manner in which the rules, that is, rules are observed, or the rules are managed within the houses, both houses of the Parliament. So the C also has to be wrong. And D, Business Advisory Committee, again it is something that is concerned with the business etc. So that again is wrong. So which means that B has to be the answer. That is, subordinate legislation means it is actually something which is given to the executive. That is subordinate legislation. So it is giving something, the High Court, the Parliament is giving some subordinate power, or it's giving its subordinate the power to legislate. So that is what you can say. So which means that the Bombay has to be the answer. So Committee on Subordinate Legislation is the answer, in fact. So here the committee shall consist of 15 members who shall be nominated by the chairman in case of Rajya Sabha from amongst the members of the committee. And the committee shall have the power to require the attendance of persons or production of papers or records if such a course is considered necessary for the discharge of its function. And also scrutinizes the committee, that is the main duty or the main function of this committee, it is the same, that is, it scrutinizes and reports to the House whether the power to make regulations, rules, sub-rules, bylaws, etc. conferred by the Constitution of delegated by the Parliament are being properly exercised by the executive. So this is what the delegated legislation, that is the Committee on Delegated Legislation, does it. So subordinate legislation, Committee on Subordinate Legislation does. So again, moving on to the next question, that is, consider the following statements. The Food Safety and Standard Authority, Food Safety and Standard Act of 2006, it replaced the Prevention of the Food Adulteration Act of 1954. Again, that is correct. That is, we'll check it once again. Again, second statement, the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, FSSAI, is under the charge of Director General of Health Services in Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Of course, FSSAI comes under the Union Ministry of Health and Family Affairs because it is actually an autonomous body. So here, which means it will not be coming under the Director General of Health Service, because Health Service, you could have used it, right? Health Service is not something that is concerned with the quality of food or setting the standard of food quality. So again, you could have eliminated then and there itself. First one again would have, it was pretty tough. But understand that Food Safety and Standard Authority was actually repealed. That is, was repealed, the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act of 1954 was repealed when this particular Food Safety and Standard Authority of 2006 came into existence. So here the answer has to be one only. That is, the second statement is wrong. Again, for such statement, you should be really careful when you are answering such questions. So Food Safety and Standard Act of 2006, it actually provides an integrated law or an integrated food law that lays down the standard of food as well as the guidelines for consumer safety as well as protection of the consumer health and regulations of the food sector. In fact, it is actually an autonomous body under the ministry. And it seeks to harmonize the Indian standards with the international standards like Codex and facilitates international trade in food articles. And also lays down the general provisions of food additives, that is the food additive, the additives that we use in processed food, etc. as well as processing of articles as well. And also right now when this particular act, that is a Food Safety and Standard Act, came into existence, it repealed several acts including Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, that is of 1954, Fruit Products Order of 1955, Meat Food Products Order of 1973, Vegetable Oil Products of 1947, and several other laws were also repealed. So these were repealed and comprehensively it was covered under Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006. So here the answer has to be 1 only. Now regarding the money bill, we had discussed in the classes as well as in the test series also we had discussed. Again it was also used, we had discussed in Let's Revise series also. So here it is a very easy question, and here a bill shall be deemed to be a money bill if it contains only provisions relating to the imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of tax. Again that is correct, that is it includes, that is imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax. Again the money bill has a provision for the custody of Consolidated Fund of India or Contingency Fund of India, that was also there. We had discussed in Let's Revise series wherein we said that anything that is incidental to that of that mentioned in Article 110 of the Constitution, it comes under the ambit, or anything that exclusively contains these particular articles or these provisions that has been enlisted in Article 110, it comes under or it can be defined as money bill. So this was also there. Third one, money bill is concerned with the appropriation of monies out of Contingency Fund of India. That is wrong because it has never mentioned Article 110 regarding appropriation of money, and that too from Contingency Fund of India. From Contingency Fund of India, it has nowhere been mentioned, and that's the reason why option C is wrong. Option D, a money bill deals with the regulation of borrowing money or giving of any guarantee by the government of India. Yes, that is also correct. So, which means that the answer has to be C. So this was asked in our current affairs, in our Let's Revise again test series, as well as we had discussed in detail in our classes also. Again, this was also we discussed in our classes as well as in the test series also. That is, with reference to the election in President of India, consider the following statements. The value of each vote, the value of the vote, each MLA varies from state to state. Yes, that is correct. That is the value of a vote, that is the value of a vote of an MLA varies from state to state. That is correct. So the first statement is correct. The value of the vote of MPs of the Lok Sabha is more than the value of the vote of MPs of the Rajya Sabha. Here understand or please notice that it is not asking for the value of the vote of total MPs or the value of the total votes of MPs. It is just asking about the value of the vote. Again, vote is singular. So the value of the vote of MPs of Lok Sabha means it is asking about the value an MP of Lok Sabha carries, and is more than the value of the vote of MPs of the Rajya Sabha. That is the value of the vote that an MP of Rajya Sabha carries. Again, these two are not varied, these are equal. So which means that the second statement is wrong. It is not more than, it is equal. The value of votes of both, that is an MP of Lok Sabha as well as an MP of Rajya Sabha is equal. So which means that second statement is correct, second statement is wrong. So the answer has to be 1 only, because first statement is correct, that it varies from state to state. Regarding the formula, in order to bring in proportional representation, it's actually for that very purpose the Constitution provides this formula. That is, the value of the vote of an MLA is equals to total population of the state. That is, total population of the state divided by total number of elected MLAs of that state into 1 by 1000. So here total population of the state varies from state to state, as well as the total number of elected MLAs also varies from state to state, which means that it varies. That is, the value of vote of an MLA of Kerala or Tamil Nadu is different from the value of vote of an MLA of Madhya Pradesh or Haryana or Himachal Pradesh. So this one is wrong, this one is okay. Second one, the Constitution seeks to establish parity between all the states put together, and that's the reason why the value of the vote of an MP equals to the total value of the vote of all elected MLAs across the state. That is, all MLAs across India would be considered, their total value would be considered divided by the total number of elected members of parliament. It's not segregating, saying that for Rajya Sabha it is having this particular value, for Lok Sabha it is having this particular value. So which means that it is these are equal. So which means that the answer has to be 1 only. That is, this particular statement is correct, the second statement is wrong. Now consider the following statements. The Speaker of Legislative Assembly shall vacate his or her office, if he or she ceases to be the member of the Assembly. So this we had discussed in our classes also, in our test series also. This Speaker of Legislative Assembly, of course, he has to vacate his office when he ceases to be a member of Legislative Assembly or Parliament. So that means that Legislative Assembly. It's speaking about Legislative Assembly here. So which means that here that is correct. The first statement is correct. Whenever the Legislative Assembly is dissolved, the Speaker shall vacate his or her office immediately. Again, we had discussed it in the classes as well as test series again and again. That is, we had discussed saying that the Speaker will be holding office immediately till immediately when the new Lok Sabha or when the new Legislative Assembly assembles. So till then, the Speaker will be carrying out his or will be having his or her office. So which means that the second statement is wrong. He or she will not be vacating his or her office immediately. So that means the second statement is wrong. So the answer has to be one only. This was also asked and discussed in our class. Second, the next statement, the next question in fact. Consider the following statement. No criminal proceeding shall be instituted against the governor of a state in any court during his tenure of office. The first statement. Second one, the emoluments and allowance of the governor of a state shall not be diminished during his term of office. First statement, no criminal proceeding shall be instituted against the governor. Governor enjoys certain immunities, and in that immunity, this particular criminal proceeding, that is regarding proceeding him with respect to his criminal proceeding or criminal proceeding with respect to his personal laws also, personal act also, has been prohibited. So which means that the first statement is correct. That is, no criminal proceeding shall be instituted against the governor of a state by in any court during his tenure, during his term as an office. So that first statement is correct. Second statement, that the emoluments and allowance of the governor of a state shall not be diminished during his term of office. In fact, in order to preserve or in order to restore him the independence to work in an independent manner, or to avoid being a puppet under the hands of the central government. Here, the emoluments and the allowance of the governor of the state was made independent. That is, it cannot be diminished during his tenure. So that's the reason why both are correct. So the governor enjoys certain privileges as well as immunities, and the first one, personal immunity from legal liability with respect to his official duty or official acts in fact. And the second one, immune from any criminal proceeding, and that too with respect to his personal act also. The third one, he or she cannot be arrested, even he or she cannot be arrested or imprisoned also. And in the case of civil proceeding, that is in case of civil cases etc., after giving a 2 months notice, civil proceedings can be initiated against the governor. So it is only against criminals, it is only against civil proceedings. So if the question was something about the civil proceeding, in such a case the second statement would have been wrong. So since it is asking with the criminal proceedings, the second statement is also correct. And again, his emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during his tenure. That is also correct. That is a fact in fact. So the answer has to be both 1 and 2 are correct. That is, no criminal proceedings can be instituted, as well as the emoluments and allowance of the governor cannot be diminished. Now, regarding the rule of law, we had discussed in our classes. So what is it? It's a simple question. It's a very simple question. In fact, first statement, that is, it is asking about which of the following are regarded as the main feature of the rule of law. First statement, limitation of power. First statement, again, if you don't know, just ignore the first statement. Second one, equality before law. Equality before law, again, rule of law, we say that, okay, the second statement has to be correct. Second one, people's responsibility towards the government or to the government is an absurd, it's a blunder in fact. Because people cannot be responsible to the government, right? So again, rule of law will not be saying like that. A rule of law is something which we associate with equality before the law. So that's the reason why we can say that third statement will not be there. So if you don't know the third statement, or if you are sure that third statement is not there, you can actually eliminate A as well as D, Delhi. That is, A and D can be eliminated. Then you will be left over with A, Bombay, as well as C. So again, 2 and 4 is there in both options. That is 2 and 4, 2 and 4, which means that the fourth statement as well as second statement is there. That is there. Again, limitation of power. That is limitation of power. Use your common sense, saying that okay, the equality before law means that the law will not be, or the government cannot initiate or cannot proceed on its own. It needs to have the legal backing. So it actually places a limitation upon the government, or it actually places a limitation upon the power of the executive. or legislature, even legislature also to an extent. So which means that it actually places a limitation on power, limitation of power. So here the first statement is also correct. First option is also correct. So the answer has to be C, 1, 2 and 3. So here what exactly rule of law is? Rule of law states that no man can be punished or made to suffer in body or goods except for violation of a law, and that violation should be established in an ordinary court of law in an ordinary legal manner. So that is what the first statement of rule of law, as it has been taken, or we have taken it from British Constitution, and this is the manner in which the rule of law has been adopted in British law, in British Constitution. So again, the second statement, all persons are subject to the ordinary law of land without any distinction of rank and position and are subjected to the jurisdiction of ordinary court, which means that it is placing an equality before the law. So the second statement is also correct. And the third statement, the Constitution is a result of ordinary law of land. It actually brings in parliamentary supremacy. So again, that is a reason why it is in India we don't follow parliamentary supremacy. We follow that the Constitution is supreme. That is supremacy of Constitution, and that's the reason why when we adopted rule of law from British Constitution, we have actually changed it. The third statement has been changed, or the third provision has been changed. Consequently, we can say that in Indian Constitution, the rule of law contains supremacy of law, that is supremacy of law. Second one, equality before law, and also the predominance of legal spirit. So these three has been taken, and it actually, the rule of law has been recognized by the judiciary as the basic structure of Constitution. So which means that rule of law comes under basic structure of Constitution. So here the answer has to be 1, 2 and 4 only, that is C. Now next one, this was also discussed in our class as well as the test series also. That is the President of India, that is with respect to state emergency. If the President of India exercises power as provided under Article 356 of the Constitution in respect of the state, particular state, then the Assembly of the state is automatically dissolved. When we discussed article, that is state emergency, I had categorically stated that the Assembly of the state will not be automatically dissolved. It can be either suspended or dissolved. So which means that the second one, that is this particular statement is wrong. We have discussed in test series also this particular statement. The second one, the powers of the legislature of that state shall be exercisable or by or under the authority of the parliament. Again, that is correct statement. That is, it is correct. That is, it would be the particular power, the legislative power would be taken up because it is because at the state level, the state legislative assembly is suspended or dissolved. So which means that it cannot function. So which means that naturally that power there has to be a legislative body at any cost of, at any point of time, and that's the reason why these powers would be acquired by the parliament or any authority that would be set by the parliament. See, Article 19 is suspended in that state. Again, regarding state emergency, etc., Article 19 will not be suspended. It will be suspended only in the case of national emergency, and that too in case of external aggression. So, Article 19 will not be suspended, and the D, Delhi, that is the President can make any law relating to that state is also wrong, because he cannot make any law. It could be in conformity with that, or it should be the authority should be given by the legislature, that central legislature or the parliament rather. So here what we can say that the answer should be B, Bombay, that is the power of legislature of that state shall be exercisable by or under the authority of the parliament. Now the next one, this was really a googly, because we never knew about the with that of the the dates, etc., the date or the year. So here consider the following statements. The first democratically elected Communist Party of India was formed in India. And India's then largest bank, that is Imperial Bank of India, was renamed as State Bank of India. Air India was nationalized and became a national carrier, and Goa became the part of independent India. So here understand that the first democratically elected Communist Party was formed in India or in the world. In fact, it was formed in 1957. So the first statement is in 1957. The second statement, India's then largest bank, that is Imperial Bank, was actually renamed as State Bank of India in 1955. Air India was nationalized. It was acquired by from the Tatas, and it was brought in through an act, and that was in 1953. And Goa was annexed by Indian security forces in 1961. That is, it was added as a part of independent India in 1961. So the answer has to be, like second one, the third statement has to be first. The third statement has to come first. So here you can eliminate A as well as C, and then after third statement, the second statement has to come, then there is a, we will arrive with the answer, that is Bombay. Now next one, this is a very simple question we have discussed in test series as well as in the classes also again and again, that is right to privacy is protected as an intrinsic part of right to life and personal liberty. Which of the following Constitution of India, in the Constitution of India appropriately imply from the above statement? That is Article 14 and the provisions under 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. We know that right to life and personal liberty does not come under Article 14. So then and there, we can eliminate 14, eliminate option A. Option B, Article 17 and the directives of state policy. Article 17 is not something that is dealt with right to life and personal liberty. It is with respect to untouchability. So which means that Bombay can also be eliminated. Option C, Article 21 and the freedoms guaranteed in Part 3. That again, yes, that is correct. That is right to, right to life and personal liberty. It comes under Article 21. So C has to be the answer. And Article 24 and the provisions under the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, yeah, that is not there. Option D can be eliminated. So answer has to be C. Now this is one of the most confusing questions. That is, which of the following reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty? A, if there are more laws, there is less liberty. If there are no laws, there is no liberty. If there is liberty, the laws has to be made by the people. And daily, that is, if laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. So here we will consider one by one. First statement, if there are more laws, there is less liberty. Again, do you think if there are more laws, there will be less liberty? In fact, there will be a clarity in how this liberty has to be exercised by them, by the executive. So which means that it necessarily need not be resulting in less liberty, it can also result in more liberty. So which means that the option A can be eliminated. Option B, if there are no laws, there is no liberty. Again, if there is no law, then everyone would be exercising their liberty more than that is required. So which means that it ultimately leads to chaos and resulting in no liberty at all. So again, even if you don't know, just neglect it, go for the next one. That is, if there is liberty, laws has to be made by the people. Again, it necessarily need not be the case. The people themselves making the law, etc., need not be the case, because there also it need not be saying, for example, China, etc. It is actually people. It is said to be democratically made in or democratically governed. And again, it need not be that the liberty or that a citizen of China enjoys is equal, is much less when you compare with the liberty that is enjoyed by an Indian citizen. So that's the reason why we can say C is also wrong. And D, if laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. In no way, it need not be. That is, yes, there is a chance, but again, it need not be always. So it's not an absolute statement. That is, if laws are changed too often, liberty will not be. In fact, liberty can also be enhanced or can also be increased. So that's the reason why we can say D is also will not be naturally following it. So Bombay, if there are no laws, there will be no liberty, has to be the answer. That is, if there is no law, just imagine a scenario. If there is no law, then what happens? Everyone would be using or would be excessively using their liberty, saying that or their power, and the stronger ones would be what do you say? Can actually subjugate the weaker ones, and that's the reason why we can say it need not be always the same. So that's the reason why if there are no laws, there is no liberty, has to be the answer. So Bombay is the answer. So coming on to the last question, it is in fact a very tricky question, also a very difficult question also. That is, which of the following reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty? A, if there are more laws, there is less liberty. If there are no laws, there is no liberty. C, if there is liberty, laws have to be made by the people. And D, if laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. So it is saying that which of the following reflects the most appropriate relationship between law and liberty, that is most appropriate one. So keep that in mind. So here A, let's take one by one. A, if there are more laws, there is less liberty. So can you say if there are more laws, there is less liberty? No, this is not the case. There may be more clarity brought in through various laws or more laws, so which may restrain the orders or which may restrain the activities of the executive. So if there is more law, it necessarily will not be resulting in less liberty. So that means that A or can be eliminated. Now B, if there are no laws, there is no liberty. This you don't know. If you don't know, then just neglect or skip to the next question, next statement. So see that if there is liberty, laws has to be made by the people. Here again, just consider the case between China vis-a-vis with that of India. In China's case, it is that the laws are made by the people itself. That is, the people who are there in the Communist Party, they will be making the laws. So, but again, it necessarily is not bringing in that liberty which Indians observe or Indians enjoy. So, if there is liberty, laws have to be made by the people. Again, is not that much correct. Again, there are the liberty are also given by autocrats also. So, which means that C is not, even though you may be unsure about it, but again, skip on to the next one. If laws are changed too often, liberty is in danger. It need not be the case. Laws may be changed too often so as to bring in more clarity also. So, which means that A and D can be eliminated. Now, regarding B and C, if you are having doubt between B and C, understand that B is actually the answer, because this is actually a wording or a phrase that has been given by John Locke. He was an English philosopher, and he wrote 2 treatises on the government. In fact, also known as 2 essays. He is also known as the father of liberalism. And in his second treatise, he actually said that the end of the law, or the main aim, that is, end means the aim here. The aim of the law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge the freedom. And hence, for in all these states, where there is no law, there is no freedom. And here he says that liberty is to be free from restraint and violence from others. So, liberty is not actually what you can do. Liberty means the freedom or the restraint, the free to be restrained from violence, free to be restrained from the violence of other people, so from others. This is also what you call as liberty. So, according to John Locke, it says that where there is no law, there is no freedom. So, that is the answer. That is option B, Bombay, has to be the answer. If there is no law, there is no liberty. So, from this we actually come to the end of Indian polity test discussion. Total of 8 questions out of this 14 questions were discussed in classes as well as in the test series also. And hope we all have our students and everyone has actually answered it. So start preparing for your mains. Need not wait for the results to be out. So that's it. Thank you.